ahead, folks.
Coach, any update on Dennis Smith Jr. and Max Kleber? Will they be playing tonight?
Smith's out. Kleber, I think, is going to play. We just went through our walkthrough, so I believe he's going to play. I'm not 1,000,000% sure, but I'm 900,000% sure.
How important are these next two games at home? Just trying to playing two teams that a lot of people think you should probably beat. How important are these next two games?
Well, I don't know if you've been following Orlando, but they play their best games on the road against good teams. They beat San Antonio on the road early in the year. They beat Boston early in the year on the road. They swept the Lakers. Okay, so that's not how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at this. This is a team that's very well coached, very disciplined. They got a lot of size. They got 2 5-men that are shooting over 40% from three. They're going to be a handful to guard. But all the games are important, if that's what your question is. We got to try to win them for sure.
Rick, what are you liking about Brunson at this point when you give him starting assignments, for example, like on Saturday night against Houston?
He's just been consistent, and he earned that opportunity based on really his play through the first 2 months, along with how he played in the New Orleans game. He played a very solid game, even though it was a 20-some point blowout. And it's a very good example of the fact that people are always watching what's happening in games, even in games that are one-sided and ugly. So, and in coaching, it happens really on. You just realize that every second that a player has an opportunity to be on the floor or is doing anything, you watch how he conducts himself. And Brunson's, he's had great coaching in college, obviously, been a 2-time national champion. And so, he earned that chance the other night.
Brunson earned another opportunity to start tonight?
Well, you'll find out at 16 on the clock, same as always.
Coach, how important is it to have Kleber back tonight with the abundance of versatile big men that Orlando has?
Well, we miss him when he's not there, for sure. It's hard. We don't get the same rebounding. He protects the rim. He's a good mover. He's shooting the threes well. So, look, we're a team built on numbers, and depth and the sum of the parts. And so, he's a big part of that sum of the parts.
Rick, could you talk about the way JJ had directed that second unit off the bench?
Sure. He's been great. I mean, he's been doing this for, I'd have to sit down and count, how many years it's been now, but it's been the better part of 10 years that he's been pretty much in charge of that group. And so his experience is a big part of it. His passing and playmaking has gotten better and better each year. I love the way he involves everybody, and defensively, because of his size, people pick on him, but he's been fighting his butt off this year and doing a good job.
You said in Chicago that you guys liked Wendell Carter a lot if he'd stayed at 5. I'm guessing Bamba was very much in the mix. What was your big takeaway from the time you spent with him this evening?
I loved him. He was great. He was a very compelling interview. He had a good workout, shot the ball extremely well. I mean, there's no shock that he's shooting 40% from 3. In fact, he was shooting, I would think, significantly higher, and he had a game where he missed 3 or something like that. And it's still at 40, But he's got amazing length. He's got a real good intellect for the game, and a really healthy intellectual curiosity for the game. I really enjoyed talking to him about basketball. I stayed in touch with him all the way up through the draft because I felt there was a chance that we were going to take him. And but he's in a very good situation there.
Rick, I know you get a lot of questions about Luka, but I wanted to ask about the step back jumper. I know that a few years ago people might have thought a step back wasn't the highest percentage shot, but obviously more and more people have that in their arsenal now, and particularly him as well. How do you feel about him using that as frequently as he does?
Well, it's all about the balance that he's able to create on the shot. Early in the year, he was shooting them, and he was ending up falling back and being short. And if you can get on balance, it's a great weapon. Now I don't, he's such a good penetrator. I feel it's important that he strikes a balance between direct vertical paint attacks and rim attacks with using the step back to create space and get the three. What he did at the end of the Houston game was unique. It was off of switches and a guy that moves his feet real well too. So it shows the amount of thrust that he creates and how quickly he can get his balance. And obviously he did a good job of getting balanced up on those. So, the bottom, I guess the answer to your question is, I like the shot as a weapon. I don't like it as your only weapon, especially with the other things that he can do, put pressure on defense.
Anything else?
Has anything that he's done surprised you, or did you expect for him to be as good as he's been?
I had heard so many things about him being a special player, and the one thing that I have consistently said about him, based on the European films, was that the European films didn't show the strength, the size, and the quickness that we've seen here. And so, and speed as well. When he gets the rebound and goes, he's really end-to-end extremely fast. So, he's caught some people by surprise. But I'm not surprised or shocked at all that he's having an impact. Donnie Nelson, who I really think is as good an evaluator of talent as I've ever met or come across in this league, told me over a year ago that he thought he was going to be the best player in this draft. And he didn't, he thought it was, he was pretty certain of it. And so, I watched him closely last year. I mean, we were out of it early, and so I was studying the draft a lot. But again, the films from overseas, maybe it was the size of the guys, and so the speed of the game's a little bit different, stuff like that. But there's just certain things that weren't quite as obvious.